الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد. الحمد لله ما شاء الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Alhamdulillah, we continue to go over a tremendously important book, and that is the book which is entitled Attention to Some Rules and Regulations that are specific to the believing women. And this topic is very important, and the target audience is very, very important. In the last class, we had taken the status of the woman before Islam, and we had taken the status of the woman inside of Islam. Now, because it is known the extent of how the woman was viewed inside of the pre-Islamic times and inside in general, or specific we should say, how the woman is viewed inside of the lands of the kuffar and inside of the cultures of the kuffar. Naam. And that is the great disrespect, in many cultures even disdain that they have for the women. And this, once it is known to the people, the status that Islam has given to the woman, the lofty status that Islam has given to the woman, became a source of envy and a source of enragement and anger for the kuffar, because this goes contrary to what they want to establish. Ya subhanallah, how ironic and hypocritical, and the audacity that the West has in trying to say that the Muslims, and what they intend by the Muslims is Islam, that it hinders the rights of women and that it infringes upon the rights of the women. And this is not correct. The Deen of Islam honors the women and puts them in a very high and lofty status. Now, this is not to say that you don't have individuals who are Muslim who are oppressive to women. You have that. You have Muslims who are oppressive to women. But this is that which returns to them, because they are not reflective nor illustrative of the Deen of Islam. And this is according to the well-known principle, and that is that the truth is not known by men. The truth is not known by men, but know the truth, and then you will know its men. So Islam is not defined by the actions of the Muslims, but rather the actions of the Muslims, then they are judged in the light of Islam. So we know which Muslim is doing that which is correct and which Muslim is doing that which is wrong, based on what? based on the teachings of al-Islam. Based on the teachings of al-Islam. And not all Muslims do that which is correct and proper. Some of them, they do that which is bad, that which is evil, that which is un-Islamic. So we don't take these examples of what they have done on their hands and then blame the deen of al-Islam for that. You understand? So how hypocritical it is for the West and the audacity they have to say that Islam oppresses the women. And they know this is not the case. They know this is not the case. Especially when you had great debates that was going on in Europe up until just a few centuries ago. Great debates that was going on in Europe amongst the Christian. Europe that was under Christianity and Christendom. Who they debated whether or not the woman had a soul. They debated whether or not the woman had a soul. They were to the utmost of oppressive to the women, the utmost of disrespecting to the women, so on and so forth. But yet they have the audacity to make it seem as if they are the ones who brought to the woman a high status, and that Islam gives to the woman a low status. A'udhu billah. Even now, currently, they still give unto the women a lowly status, and they disrespect them in the utmost terms of disrespect, because this is a disrespect that they cloak in the garb of honoring. And this is the most of disrespect, where the person who's being disrespected is tricked, is duped, is deceived to the extent that they deem the disrespect as being respectful. They deem the disrespect as being respectful. They deem their subjugation as liberation. They deem their exploitation as liberation. Wa'iyadu billah. Wa'iyadu billah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the likes of this misguidance. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us all from the likes of this corrupt and vile mentality. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the likes of this evil. Allahumma ameen. Ala kulli hal, this is why we say they have the audacity to say these things about the deen of al-Islam. But look how they treat them. Look how the kuffar, they treat the women. And let us look at the reality behind it. So, after speaking about the status that the women had prior to Islam and the status that the women have in Islam and after Islam, then it's befitting to speak about the plots of the enemies as relates to the women. As relates to the plots of the enemy as relates to the women. So the Shaykh, he mentions, and he brings his chapter which speaks about that which the enemies of Islam today, what they intend for the Muslim women, and how they wish and how they intend to strip her of the honor and the nobility that she has, and how they intend to rob her from her rights. So again, this chapter, it deals with what? How the enemies of Islam seek to strip the woman from their honor that Islam has given them, that they have in Islam, and to rob them of their rights. To rob them of their rights. Shaykh Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he mentions, he says, Inna a'da al-Islam bal a'da al-insaniyya. Allahu Akbar. اليوم من الكفار والمنافقين والذين في قلوبهم مرض. He said that verily the enemies of Islam, he said no, rather the enemies of humanity. Naam, the enemies of Islam, no, rather the enemies of humanity today, from the disbelievers and from the hypocrites and from those who have sickness in their chests, those who their hearts are sick Their hearts are diseased. نعم. غالظهم ما نالته المرأة المسلمة من كرامة والعزة والصيانة في الإسلام. These individuals from the kuffar, these enemies to Islam, these enemies to humanity, these enemies to Islam, these enemies to humanity, from the disbelievers, from the Jews, the Christians, the Magians, the Buddhists, to the end of it. Now, Hindus, to the end of it. And from the hypocrites and those who have a sickness inside of their hearts, it enrages them. They are enraged by that which the Muslim woman, she has received from honor, nobility, and the protection that she is allotted in Islam. Because Islam, in Islam, the woman, she is honored, she is protected. The woman, she has nobility. You understand? She is protected, she has nobility, she is honored, so on and so forth. How sick is it? How sick is it that the shaitan, he has tricked the women to such an extent that some of them view honoring them and protecting them and treating them in a noble manner as something that is patronizing, as something that diminishes them. Small acts of kindness and nobility that is shown to the woman, some women, they take offense by it. Opening up the door for the woman, and then she gets mad. I can open my own door. Yes, no one said you couldn't. No one believed you to be incapable. No one deemed you to be incapable of opening up the door for yourself. But due to the honor, due to the nobility and treating you in a good way, the door was open for you. It's understood you can open it for yourself. Now, but to think that you don't deserve for it to be open, or to think that it is patronizing or putting you down to have it open for you, this is subhanallah. And this is but a small example. You understand? This is but a small example, but to show you to the extent that the shaitan, that these shayateen from the human beings and from the jinn, they have played upon the mentalities of the women, that have them twisted to such an extent that they deem their honoring to be dishonor, and they deem when you dishonor them, that to be honorable. Ya subhanallah. The deen of Islam, it honors the women. The women are noble, and it protects the women. Naam. It protects the women. And that's important too. It protects the women. Some women say, well, I don't need protecting, brother. Yes, you may not need it. You understand? But this doesn't mean you don't deserve it. This doesn't mean it's not due to you, even though you may not need it. You understand? You still are worthy of it. You still are worthy of it. You see? على كل حال. The Shaykh says, لأن الأعداء الإسلام من الكفار والمنافقين يريدون أن تكون المرأة أداة تدمير. نعم. وحبالة يصادون بها ضعاف الإيمان والأصحاب الغرائز الجانحة بعد أن يشبعوا منها شهوات ومسعورة. He said that some of the enemies, that verily the enemies of Islam, from the kuffar, from the disbelievers, from the hypocrites, they want for the woman to be a tool of destruction. They want the woman to be a tool of destruction. And they want her to be a snare by way in which they hunt and they're able to overcome those who have weak faith. They want to utilize the woman as a tool. You understand? They want to utilize her as a tool of destruction and to hunt and to prey upon those who have weak faith. Those who have weak faith and these individuals who have corrupt and perverted instincts. Meaning these ones who their fitrah has been corrupted. Their fitrah has been corrupted. They have been reared in such a way that they love evil. They love corruption. They love despicable things. You understand? These individuals, these nasty individuals, as they say in English, what these nasty-hearted individuals. And this is what they want to utilize them, use them and abuse them after they have taken their full from these women, after they have taken their full from these women as relates to their desires and as relates to their rabid and crazed lust. After they have taken their full from the women and what they want to do from them, use them and abuse them, then they want to utilize them as tool against others. This is how these individuals are from the kuffar. This is how they treat the woman. This is where the woman is in their eyes. So you think that this individual is trying to help you. You think this individual is trying to honor you. You think this individual is trying to liberate you. But the reality of it is that their liberation is in fact slavery. The reality is that their honoring is in fact dishonor. The reality of that what you deem from them as respect is in reality the essence of disrespect. All they want to do is use you and abuse you for their end. Use you and abuse you for their sick purposes because of their sick nafs, their sick souls, their evil and corrupt hearts. They just want to use you and abuse you. They don't care nothing about you. They just want what they can get from you and whatever they can use you to accomplish. That's it. They don't really care nothing about you. You become to them cheap. You become to them just a means towards the end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us about the likes of these individuals. Allah ta'ala, He says, وَيُرِيدُونَ الَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَن تَمِيلُوا مَيْلًا عَظِيمًا. He says, and these ones who follow their desires, those individuals who follow their desires, they want you to deviate a tremendous deviation away from the straight path. They want you to be corrupted like they are corrupted. You understand? They want you to be corrupted like they are corrupted. They don't want you to have that place of nobility. They want you to be corrupted like they are corrupted. Like what the old folk they say, misery loves company. You understand? Crabs in a barrel. They down. They want to pull you down. They miserable. They want you to be miserable. Ya subhanallah, how many of the kuffar women, and this has been witnessed time and time again, will say to the Muslim women, you are spoiled. Now, why? Because they envy. They're envious of the Muslim women. They're envious of the Muslim women. How many of them have said, not subhanallah, but how many have said in amazement, you women, you don't have to work. You don't have to pay any bills. But you can still earn and make money. But your money is your money. And on top of that, your husband still has to spend everything upon you. And you don't have to get up and do a 9 to 5 and toil and labor and compete with men and have to worry about the glass ceilings and have to worry about the pay differentiation between the men and the women and to the end of it. You don't have to do none of this stuff. We went to school all of these years to get this bachelor's, to get this master's, to get this doctor's degree, and this and that and that. Just to toil in such a way. When you Muslim women, regardless of whatever you have achieved from educational achievements and so on and so forth, don't even have to use it. Use it if you want to, but you don't have to, and you're taken care of. and you're pampered and so on and so forth. They say this out of envy. How many of the Kafir women have acknowledged, and this has been seen and witnessed, and they say, well, I want a Muslim man. I need me a Muslim man then. Why? Because they want the treatment. They want the treatment. You understand? That the Muslim man who's a real man, who's doing his job and establishing what he needs to establish, they want a man of such to treat them like that. You understand? They want a man of such to treat them like that. Subhanallah. How many times have you heard this? And of course, the immediate response is, before wanting a Muslim man, then you need to what? You need to accept Islam. You need to establish the Tawheed. Establish the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want someone to establish your rights? Well then look, first you need to establish the rights of the Creator. You establish the rights of the Creator, everything else will fall in place, inshallah ta'ala. Ala kulli hal, I'm saying this to say that when you hear the likes of these things from these Kafir women, this is them illustrating and articulating their envy, their jealousy of the Muslim women. And then when you hear them want to encourage you, no, go to school, get your job, be independent, this, that, and that, then know that deep down inside, they acknowledge, they realize that the reality is that your position is a better position than theirs, that your station is a higher station than theirs. But what? But they want to pull you down like they down. They misery love company. They want to pull you down so that you like them. They won't stop until you like them. You understand? And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us here in this ayah, that those individuals who they follow their desires, they want us what? In essence, what? To be like them. They want us to go to the extent that they have gone to. They want us to be corrupt like they are corrupt. They want us to be lowly like they are lowly. They are not pleased to be lowly by themselves, but they want us to be lowly like they are lowly. You understand? And such is the way of the shayateen. The shaitan, he is far, huwa ba'id an rahmatillah. He is far from Allah's mercy. So what? So he wants the children of Adam to also be far from Allah's mercy. He is accursed. So he strives his best to what? So that the children of Adam also are accursed. He knows that his abode is the hellfire. So he strives for what? So to get the children of Adam to also go to hell with him. Wa'iyadu billah. And maybe this may shed more light on the old folks saying misery love company. You understand? So don't fall victim to the doubts. Don't fall victim to the propaganda. Don't fall victim to the slogans and the of these kuffar. The Shaykh, he says, وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. And likewise, those from the Muslims who have sickness in their hearts, because see, some of the Muslims have been affected with this sickness. They have been infected with this sickness too. يريدون من المرأة, they want for the woman أن تكون سلعة رخيصة في معرض أصحاب الشهوات ونزعات الشيطانية. Also some of the Muslims who have sickness, نعم, because you have Muslims who are sick. Yes. Anytime a man will tell his wife, you don't gotta cover your face. Let your face be out, it's fine. You don't have to cover your hair. Let your hair be out, it's fine. You don't have to wear no jilbab. Just wear what you want. Wear them skinny jeans, wear them skinny little half shirt, whatever. It's fine. You understand? This is a man that's sick. He's sick. This is the man who, he got a disease inside his heart. He's sick, he's twisted. Don't think he honoring you. You understand? This man is sick. The Shaykh, he says they want to use the women as a cheap commodity. She becomes a cheap commodity. Where? In the marketplace of the people of desires and satanic inclinations. She becomes cheap. Naam. This is from a way that the women are exploited. Some of the brothers who had Jahiliyyah, they know about this. They know about this understanding. The women who, these kuffar, right? These kuffar, and then the Muslims who have the same mentality, the same. But From the kuffar, you'll find the men, if he has a woman and she's pretty, right? And she's pretty, she has beauty, what they want to do? They want to show her off. Why? Because they care about what benefits her? No. So as a bragging point, to bring a good light upon them, to say, look what I got. Look at me, look at my situation. Look how, look how big a man I am. Look at what I got on my arm. So they parade her. Wear this skimpy that. Wear this skimpy this. Show this skin. Show this flesh. Why? Because they care about what benefit her? No. Because for them, it's a trophy. Look at what I got. That sound like someone who cares about you? That sound like someone who's concerned about your welfare? How many women develop back problems because of the high heels that they wearing and so on and so forth, hurting their feet, hurting their back, messing up their posture, so on and so forth. The men, they care about that? No, they don't care about that. Put on them high heels because it accents this and it highlights that and so on and so forth, and they don't care about the women. And now how sick are these women now to go through all this pain and all that stuff like this? Now, exploit themselves, what? For the benefit of who? Ain't for themselves. But this is the manner of these individuals. This is how they thinking. Is that they use the woman as a cheap commodity inside of the marketplace of the people of desires, the people who are given to their lusts and their satanic and inclinations. Sil'a makshufa amama a'yunihim. يتمتعون بجمالها يتمتعون بجمال منظرها. They use her as a cheap commodity, bring her out a cheap product that's uncovered in front of the eyes of the men who is enjoying her, who is enjoying looking at her beauty, getting in full, looking at her beauty, enjoying her. What kind of man wants to have his wife enjoyed, or his daughters, allow his daughters to be enjoyed? The other men to gain pleasure from looking at them in a subjective manner. You think when a man is looking at a woman like that, enjoying her like that, he's respecting her? Do you think he's respecting her? Looking at her like that? There's no respect in that gaze. There's no respect in that look. So how evil are the men who want to subject the women to the likes of this, and how evil and twisted are the women who subject themselves to the likes of this. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. The Shaykh, he says, أو يتصلون منها إلى ما هو أقبح من ذلك. Or they will connect with her to do that which is evil, which is even more evil than that. You see? Or they will connect with her to reach and accomplish that which is even more evil than that. More evil than looking at her. That's just the means. That's the beginning. It's a starting place. Sometimes it goes into, we know what it goes into. May Allah protect all of us and our families from the likes of this. وَلِذَلِكَ حَرِصُوا. Due to this exploitation, حَرِصُوا عَلَى أَن تُخْرِجَ مِنْ بَيْتِهَا. They strive to get her out of her house. Because of this, they strive to get her out of her house. لِتُشَارِكَ الرِّجَالِ في أعمالهم جنبا إلى جنب جنبا إلى جنب. They strive to get her out of her house so that she can go to work with the men side by side with them. She go to work with the men side by side in the same office. You understand? Side by side with the men, working on projects, staying late, overtime, taking trips. A'udhu billah. Or لتخدم الرجال ممرضة في المستشفى. Or they want the women to serve the men as nurses inside of the hospitals. The women to serve the men as nurses inside of the hospital. What benefit is it for a woman nurse to serve a male patient? What benefit is that for them? What benefit is it for a woman nurse to take care of a male patient? What benefit is it for a woman to do it? Is it not more suitable for a man to deal with a man? Is it not more suitable for a male nurse to deal with the male patients? Of course. Of course. Of course it's more suitable. What is the upscale? What is the upside of having a woman nurse deal with a man? So now she got to touch upon him. She got to lean over him and all this type of stuff. Come on. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. أو مضيفة في الطائر أو في الطائرة, or they want the woman to be a stewardess inside of an airplane. What benefit is it for a woman to be a stewardess in an airplane? I mean, let's be honest about this. Traveling without a mahram. Now, what benefit is her for to be a stewardess in the airplane? A man can't bring you your pillow, a blanket, you know, whatever. He can't bring you something to drink. He can't bring you the complimentary meals or snacks in which they give to you on the plane. You need a woman to do that? Walking down the aisle, brushing up upon the people sitting on the the aisle seat, brushing up upon them, hitting them with her body, and so on and so forth. What is this but the spread of corruption? أعوذ بالله. أو المدرسة في الفصول الدراسة مختلطة, or they want her to be mixed, or even in the school they want to bring her out so she is mixed amongst the men in a mixed sex class, or integrated class between the sexes, integration between the sexes. So you have a class inside school with boys and girls, female students, male students, female pupils, male pupils, and so on and so forth. What's the benefit in that? Really, what is the benefit in that? Anybody who was in Jahiliyyah, anybody who was who didn't grow up as a Muslim, or so on and so forth, or who was forced into that evil situation, you will know that what the mixing of the sexes of anything is a distraction. You understand? How many lessons weren't paying attention to because there was stuff going on between this boy and that girl, and so on and so forth. Whether it was notes being passed, glances, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? There's a distraction. There's no benefit in it being like that. There's no benefit. How many fights and that broke out because the boys now want to impress the girls, and this, that, and this. It's a distraction. And then vice versa. How many girls get into fight because of boys so-and-so and they like that? Yeah, subhanallah. Corruption. No benefit. There's no upside to it. There's no upside to it. You understand? All of this is from the plots of the shayateen to exploit the women. They don't care. They'll exploit them in a hospital, on a plane, or on a train, in an office, in a hotel. They don't care. They will exploit them any chance they get, even inside of a school setting. They will exploit them. Exploit them, corrupt them from when they are little. The woman comes up from kindergarten, that's all she knows, mixed with the men. All he knows from kindergarten, mixed with the women. They become corrupted. So now they become adults, and now their inclinations are satanic. What do you think that came from? Do you think that happened overnight? And then we send our children to the likes of these schools, and then what do we think? That which affected others won't affect them. That which made others sick won't make them sick. That which caused others to have disease won't cause them to have disease. We think they're going to be immune to that. But now when they get older and their mentality is like the mentality of a kafir. Where do we think that came from? A person doesn't develop his way of thinking overnight, but that is that which takes, it develops over the course of days and nights, the course of years. We hand our children over to the kuffar 8 hours a day for 10 months a year, and then we think they're not going to be affected. We think they're not going to be affected by the thinking of the kuffar. We don't understand that the shaitan, he will put seeds inside of a child when it's little, because he'll wait 30, 40 years for it to sprout. We think our children are immune to such. But then we put them in that situation, and then we want to bug out when we see the fruit start coming. We want to bug out when we see the seed start sprouting. Subhanallah, ya Ahl al-Islam. Muslims, you got to wake up. You got to understand the reality of the situation. You got to understand, yani, the true agenda of the enemies. You got to understand the true agenda of the shayateen. They want to destroy our women. And they want to destroy our societies by way of our women. So it's not befitting that we help them in that. Yeah, subhanAllah, no way. Ala kulli hal. The Shaykh goes on and he says, or the women, they want to take her, they want to use her as well, mumathila fi masrah, or they want to use her as what, an actress inside of the theater, make her actress, a movie star. You understand? Movie star. Now she what? She public property. Everybody in the dunya know how she look, know what she got. A'udhu billah. They think this is honoring them? No way. Mughanniya, or they want her to be a singer, R&B star, country and blues, jazz, whatever. I don't care the genre. They want her to be a singer. You think they parading the women around the singer because they care about the women? No, they exploiting her. Exploiting her. Naam, out. مذيعة في الوسائل الإعلام المختلفة سافرة فاتنة بصوتها وصورتها. Or they want to use the woman as a news anchor. They want to use her as a news anchor where she is unveiled, scantily dressed, a fitna, a trial and tribulation, cause of lust, by way of her voice and by way of her image, by way of her, yani her picture, how she looked. You understand? By way of her voice and by way of how she looked. Contemplate on this. Contemplate it, and it's not to be facetious, but have you ever seen that they will hire and under the employ of those women who make the front desk on the nightly news, or those women who are the weather women, do you ever see that they pick a ugly, homely looking woman? The majority of the times. Have you ever seen they pick a ugly, homely looking woman? No. No. Only those who their appearance is attractive, then they pick to sit their front desk. You understand? They don't pick no homely looking, ugly looking woman to be front desk like that. And they're scantily dressed. Have you ever seen a weather woman and she got on loose clothes when you can't see the figure of her shape? No. They're scantily dressed. But again, what benefit is it for having a woman in that situation? A man can't tell you the weather. A man can't tell you what's going on inside of the news. What benefit is it for a woman to be in that situation? For what? It's just to exploit her. It's for ratings. You understand? It's for ratings. Those shows that are in those blocks that are high, I don't know the terminology for whatever, but those blocks that get a lot of views, they get a lot of views. So that means what, they can charge more for the advertisements and so on and so forth. You find that some of the prettiest ones are then at that time. Why? Because they want to bring in viewers. Because they don't care about them. They're using them like a lure. You understand the lure? When you go fishing, when you go fishing, the lure, that lure, it has in it sparkles and all this type of stuff to look good to the fish. So when they come and buy it, the fish want to get it. They want to get it. Yeah? The fish, they chase it. So the lure, you don't have a lure that's so ugly, monotone, no colors in it, and so on and so on. No, all the lures are flashy. All the lures, they're all flashy. So when you throw it in there and you start wheeling it back in, the fish, they see this thing coming by and catch their eye. Now what the fish want to do? They want to go and they want to grab it. They want to eat it. They think, oh, this is a good meal, so let's go eat it. But then they eat it for what? To their detriment. Hook, line, and sinker. Got them. This is what the kuffar think of the women. They just lures. Get the views. That's it. That's the benefit for them. This is not honoring them. This is not respecting them. Allahu musta'an. Allahu musta'an. Likewise with the voice. You ever see a newscaster lady sound all rough and tough? No, not at all. اتخذت المجلات الخليعة من الصور الفتيات فاتنات عاريات وسيلة ليش وسيلة للترويج مجالاتهم وتسويقها. They take the women and they'll put up on the cover of these various magazines and periodicals, right? A woman who is scantily dressed, no clothes on, from the young girls, the young pretty women, or even sometimes we can say the older women who are pretty, yeah? And they what? They put them on there, scantily dressed, as what? As a means of spreading and merchandising the magazine. Check out any store, it's what you see. This lady, she there with a bathing suit. Why you got a bathing suit on for? For what? This magazine ain't about that. But she there with a bathing suit. She there scantily dressed. Or she there, or she's there actually naked, taking her hands and covering up the sensitive parts. For what? For a news periodical? What they got to do with news? Why are they doing this for? For marketing, so that they can spread the magazine, so they can merchandise it, so they can sell more copies. So for them, that's it. The woman, she's just a commodity to sell stuff. That's it. That's all she's worth. That's not honoring her. That's not respecting her. This is how the kuffar treat the women. واتخذ بعض التجار والبعض المصانع مع هذه الصور أيضا وسيلة للترويج بضاعهم حيث وضعوا هذه الصور على معروضاتهم ومنتجاتهم بسبب هذه الإجراءات الخاطئة. Is that they will, some companies and some industries, they will put women's pictures upon their products. They'll put them upon their products. Why? So as to sell more products, and so that they may accomplish their evil objectives. So that they may accomplish the evil objectives of what? Of subjugating the women, treating them like commodities, treating them like they're cheap, and what? To sell products. It's marketing. It's marketing, sell products. So you find women, yeah, they use for everything, to sell everything from a can of soda to cars, to soap, to whatever is sold. Because what? These men, they have no respect for these women. And it's as if they come to them and say, listen, we're going to show you respect by disrespecting you. We're going to liberate you by exploiting you and subjecting you. And they fall for it. Oh, I'm a big model. Look. I'm free. I'm this. I'm that. No, you are an object. You're being exploited and used and abused. To establish their evil disease, the evil objectives in that, what do? تخلت المرأة عن وظيفتها الحقيقية في البيت. They remove the women to establish the evil objectives of subjugating the women and use them as commodities and getting their lustful desires and what they want to get out the women from the evil. They take her from the house. They take her out of the house. And in taking her out of the house, they remove her from her real job. They remove her from her real job. And what is that real job? That real job is what? It's taking care of the family, taking care of the children, raising the children. Right? They take them out the house. Now, when this happens, what is the result of that? يعني مما اضطر أزواجهم إلى جلب خادمات أجنبيات لتربية الأولاد وتنظيم الشؤون البيتي، مما سبب كثيرا من الفتن والجلب العظيما من الشرور. Is that when the women leave in a house like this, things still have to be done inside of the house, So what happens is that it compels the husbands to seek after maids and domestic help for those who can afford it. Or you'll take them outside the house to daycare and all this type of stuff, right? Daycare, after school care, whatever the case may be. Why? So as to raise the children and to take care of the affairs of the house. And all of this causes much fitna. It causes much trials, much tribulations, and it is a source of great evil. It is a source of great evil. At the end of the day, no one is going to take care of your children like you take care of your children. Daycare is not like your care. You understand? Daycare is not like your care. And this is well known. And they're not going to raise your children in a manner that's befitting. Especially when the Muslims surrender their children to the daycare and after school care and so on and so forth of people who are kuffar. You think a kafir is going to teach your child Islam? SubhanAllah. The Shaykh, he says, إننا, and this is a very important point that we're going to end on, inshallah ta'ala, is that verily, we don't want all this to be understood. The Shaykh, he says, إننا لا نمانع من عمل المرأة الخارج بيتها إذا كانت بالضوابط الآتية. He said that verily we do not prevent the women or prohibit that the women could work outside her house. You don't want to be understood that the women are prohibited from working outside their house. No, it's not the case. The Shaykh says as long as it fits the following as long as it fits the following rules. Right now the translation of it is slipping me, but as long as it applies to these rules, right? It applies to these rules or these regulations. Now, the Shaykh says the first one, أن تحتاج إلى هذا العمل أو يحتاج المجتمع إليه بحيث لا يوجد من يقوم بها من الرجال. He said, like a standpoint, one way would be that it would be something, this particular occupation is something that the society it needs. The society it needs, and there's not present any men that can do it. There's not present any men that can do it. Now, so for example, at a medical care, for example, there's a place where, a village or whatever, where there's no male doctor, but there's a woman doctor. You understand? There's no male, but it's a woman. Well, in that case, we need a doctor. You understand? So in that case, it becomes a necessity that a woman, she will have to treat patients because people are sick. They need help. So that becomes a necessity. That's a necessity. That's one scenario. Or that's one regulation that that has to be in there. That is something that is a job that's needed, that society benefits from, and there's no men that can do it, then it's fine. She can do it under those circumstances. وأن يكون ذلك بعد قيامها بعمل البيت الذي هو عملها الأساسي. But another way, this is after she has already established and taken care of the responsibilities of the house, which is her primary job, to make sure that the affairs of the house are being taken care of. This is very important, right? So she can work, but she has to make sure that whatever has to go on in the house is taken care of. وأن يكون هذا العمل في محيط النساء كتعليم النساء والطبيب أو تمريض النساء، ممرضة للنساء، ويكون منعزلا عن الرجال. The other way, or the other condition is that what? is that it has to be in an environment that's an all-woman environment. It has to be in an environment that's an all-woman environment. So, when a woman wants to work, these things have to be in place. The job, it has to be something that is needed, right, for the society and so on and so forth, that there's no man that can do it. She has to take care of the responsibilities of her house and make sure that they are taken care of and they are not neglected. 3, it has to be in a setting that's an all-woman setting. The Shaykh, he says, like, for example, teaching women. Like, if she's a teacher inside of a school, an all-woman school, a school that has the sexes separated, you understand? Then this is fine. Or she works in a medical profession where she deals with women, right? When she works with a medical profession, she's a doctor dealing with the women. Like, for example, a job that's needed by society that men can't do it is like what? It's like a gynecologist. It's like a gynecologist and an OBGYN. You know, these are jobs that are befitting for what? For women, not for men. For women. And any man that's okay with another man being between the limbs of his wife like that, he's sick. He has a serious problem. Something's wrong with him. Really. He needs to be checked out by a doctor. Something's wrong with that guy. But in any event, gynecologists, so on and so forth, these type of things now is needed for is needed. Women need these particular professions, go into these professions so that they can service the needs of the female patients. Likewise, other professions from the medical field, it's not restricted to just these, but other professions from the medical field is good and is needed. Why? So that women can have women doctors, anesthesiologists, for example, women surgeons. Now, a woman that's a surgical assistant. All of this is needed so that what? So that if a woman has to have a surgery, she can have an all-woman staff. The surgeon is a woman, the anesthesiologist is a woman, everybody in the operating room is a woman. So these type of things are good. They're encouraged for women to go into these professions so that they can be, so we can have an all-woman operating room. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So this is an example of the likes of this. Now, the Shaykh, he says a place where there are no men there. There's no men around. And fourthly, كذلك لا مانع. There is no problem. بل يجب على المرأة, but rather it is incumbent, it is obligatory upon the woman أن تتعلم أمور دينها, that she has to learn أمور دينها, is that she has to learn the affairs of her religion. ولا مانع, and there's no problem, there is nothing prohibiting her أن تعلم من أمور دينها ما تحتاج إليه ويكون تعليم في محيط النساء. And there's no problem for her to learn the affairs of her religion, and that she needs, and that she learns these things in an all-woman setting. That she goes out the house to a school that is all women, that's fine, or a markaz that's all women, to learn Arabic, to learn how to recite the Qur'an, a tahfidh, to memorize the Qur'an, and so on and so on, learn about Aqeedah. It's no problem for her to go to a markaz or to a school that's an all-woman school that's dedicated to teaching these sciences. There's no problem. Likewise with the other sciences, secular and so on and so forth, or interdisciplinary, I like better than secular, interdisciplinary schools to learn these that are all women. There's no problem for her to go out to learn that type of stuff. There's no problem. But in particular about the affairs of her religion, there's no problem for her to go to a markaz Islami that teaches about the deen of al-Islam, that's all women. It's no problem. Whatever. And تحضر الدروس في المسجد. Also, it's no problem for her to attend the classes inside of the masjid. To attend the classes inside of the masjid. ونحوه. And other than that, to attend classes. وتكون, but she has to be what? مستترة. She has to be covered. ومنعزلة. And الرجال, she has to be covered and she has to be separate from the men. She has to be covered up and she has to be separate from the men. على ضوء ما كانت نساء في صدر الإسلام يعملن ويتعلمن ويحضرن إلى المساجد. And this is in light of how the women in the beginning of Islam, what they used to do, and how they used to learn, and how they used to attend the Masjid. They used to learn and they used to attend the Masjid. But there was no intermixing, there was no mixing of the sexes, neither inside the Masjid nor outside of the Masjid. Neither inside of the Masjid nor outside of the Masjid. How many narrations do we have of the Sahabiyat when they used to walk home after Fajr? They used to come to attend Fajr. And then after Fajr, when they would walk home, they would walk alongside of the buildings. Like they wouldn't walk in the middle of the street, but they would walk on the outskirts of the street. On the outskirts of the pathways, like where the houses and stuff was, and the buildings and that. They would walk along that. So as to what? So not even to mix with the men inside of the street going home. You understand what I'm saying? The men used to wait for the women to leave. After the salah, the women, they would get up and they would leave. The men, they would wait for the women to leave, so that what? So that even when leaving, there was no mixing from the men and the women. There were designated doors inside of the masjid that were designated. These are the women's doors, so only women will go in and will enter and exit from these doors. And the men had other doors to enter and to exit from the masjid, so that even in coming inside of the masjid, there was no mixing. You understand? So this is how the Salaf they used to be. This is how the Sahaba they used to be. So we're not going to restrict the women and say, no, just stay in your house and that's it, don't worry about nothing. No, you can come out, but it has to come out in a manner that is befitting, a manner that maintains their honor, a manner that maintains their respect, a manner that maintains their dignity. You understand? And it's important upon the men to stress these things. To stress these things, because this is an honoring of our Muslim sisters. This is an honoring of our Muslim sisters. This is an honoring and treating noble and respecting our Muslim sisters, and in protecting our Muslim sisters. So never let it be the case where a man is ashamed to stand up, ashamed to make it known to the world that yes, we protect our women, we respect our women, and we will never allow you kuffar to exploit our women. We will fight you if you try to exploit our women. We will go against you, struggle against you hard with all that we got if you try to exploit, disrespect, dishonor our women. We will never tolerate that, because our women are precious. Our women are precious, and they deserve the respect. They deserve respect. They deserve to be treated honorably. They deserve the nobility. Why? Because this is the nobility. This is the honor. This is the respect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded that we give the Muslim woman. Let no man be scared to stand up and say that to the world. And let no woman feel ashamed that she is honored, that she is respected. Let no woman feel ashamed of that. And then the Shaykh Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he goes on into the first section, which deals with some rules and regulations as relates to the beautification of the Muslim woman, of her body. But bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will save that to the next class. فنكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين، وجزاكم الله خيرا.